Good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you may be listening to us or watching us, as it were, today. You've landed on the Guambai podcast. Guambai, where the teacher schools the preacher. Guambai, Newfoundland and Labrador's trivia podcast, brought to you by the Dildo Brewing Company and Museum, located in beautiful downtown Dildo, home of the Dildo sign and all the beautiful beers. If you haven't been there, you should get there. My name is Kevin. I am coming to you from London, Ontario, and I'm joined here today by my other brother.
Yes, the other brother Darryl from the motherland, the homeland of Whiteway, snowy Whiteway today.
You fellas are into the midst of a storm, are you?
Well, the storm's over, but the snow is still here.
Somebody got to clean it up. Darryl, we had the last time we were together, I was there and we were in the brewery and we did
no snow.
No snow. It was beautiful. We did a podcast and we launched it with video, and man, we like blew up.
Yes. We're huge now.
We're huge. There was almost 1,500 views on YouTube. So
that many?
Almost 1,500. Yeah.
Wow.
My sonny man. Listen, you don't know what's coming next. So with that in mind, folks, if you're watching this today, it's because that episode went so, in our terms, viral.
Must have been our faces.
It had to be. It's once people saw us, they couldn't stop staring. It's like a train wreck. Everybody's going to have a look. Anyway, what do you got for me today? You must have some good stuff cooked up there.
Well, I'm gonna kind of keep it general again today. I shouldn't say again. I suppose we were very specific last time with dildo trivia.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go to the other end of very specific trivia like that to just some random Newfoundland trivia. So just all over the map, if you want to call it that. And I think literally I will be all over the map with a few questions here, and just see what your general knowledge of Newfoundland is.
Okay, so when you say random, you don't mean the place. You mean like random, like
not Random Island. That'll be in an upcoming episode.
Okay, all right. Now, listen, the other exciting part today is world famous in Newfoundland. We always have a good guest, and today is no different, where we have Pamela Morgan with us. Absolutely amazing artist. Figgy Duff, incredible recording career, and she's a well-known artist in Newfoundland. So thrilled that she would have time with us today.
Absolutely, looking forward to that. Looking forward to the challenge.
Oh, she can take you down. I have no.
I think so.
Yeah,
not hard.
yeah.
I don't think I've won one yet. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll try to keep the streak alive. So how are we gonna do this today? You gonna warm me up in any way?
Yeah, just a short warm up. I was doing where's it at, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of a variation on that to start with today.
Okay.
And what does it mean?
Oh.
And but still staying with kind of like a place name.
Okay.
In particular, Placentia Bay. So Placentia is from the French word plaisance.
Okay.
So my question is, what does plaisance mean in English?
I'm going to say it means pleasant.
Ooh, yeah, I think so. Pleasure is what I looked it up,
good.
But pleasant, pleasure, very similar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the Bay of Pleasure. Not sure why it was so pleasurable, but hey,
to be careful, we're a PG broadcaster podcast, so let's.
But no ice, probably no ice in Placentia Bay. That's probably why it was so pleasurable.
Yeah, that probably is true. You probably get out on the water most of the year.
Yeah, and lots of islands, of course. Most bay with most islands, I think, in Newfoundland, Placentia Bay is.
Yes, indeed.
So, you ready for some all over the map trivia?
Let's go all over
Newfoundland.
All over Newfoundland's map, Newfoundland Labrador's map.
I'll start with our motto.
Okay.
And I'm gonna butcher this Latin now for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Quaerite prime regnum Dei. What does it mean in English?
Seek ye first the kingdom of God.
And of course, I would be very surprised if a fellow like yourself, given your profession, didn't know the answer to that. Can you tell me what verse that's from?
It's from Matthew, chapter 4. I can't remember.
I don't know, by the way. So whatever you say now, we can say it's right.
I won't get the number, but here's the interesting thing is a few years ago, I had a coat made, which is a liturgical vestment, and I had Newfoundland tartan as a part of the design. And on the back, I put the wild goose because in Celtic tradition, the Holy Spirit is represented by a wild goose, not a dove. And underneath, I have that Latin, which is the motto of Newfoundland and Labrador. So
okay,
yeah.
so that was an easy question for you.
Yes, but to be honest with you, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I wouldn't have pulled that out of my hat. So
yes, okay, the flag.
Yes,
Newfoundland flag. You know all about it.
the proper flag, like not this cooked up tradition thing.
Our official Newfoundland provincial flag.
Mm-hmm.
You know when it was adopted?
I want to say 80 or 81. I'll say 80, but
1980.
Yeah.
And I may have asked you this before in earlier podcast, but not sure. Do you know who designed the flag?
It was Christopher
Pratt.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, just passed away this.
That's right. Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
One of the best known visual artists to ever come out of Newfoundland. A couple of questions about the flag itself. I won't ask you the whole thing, but there's 4 triangles on the left-hand side. What do they represent? What are they all about?
4 triangles on the left-hand side. I wonder if those triangles represent the peoples. No. Don't know. I'm meaning to say they representing where they came from, but no. Yeah. But I know the blue is representative of water. But
yes, yeah.
The four triangles. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, that's the British heritage because it's the Union Jack.
It's the Union Jack, but I was thinking it might have been from the Union.
But
Jack.
I think you might be on something in
like
terms
English,
of
Irish, Welsh, and Scottish is what I was thinking in terms of the peoples. But
could be, and of course, equally could represent the 4 indigenous peoples.
Indigenous peoples.
Well,
right. I was going to hasten to add that will be totally exclusionary, but not uncommon.
So it probably could be either or for sure. Yeah. What about the 2 triangles on the right?
Newfoundland, the island, and Labrador.
Yes, and of course, both Newfoundland and Labrador are in the shape of triangles, so very appropriate.
Yeah.
What about the golden arrow?
That's our bright future. The color is at least
indeed
forward moving, right?
I think he was very prophetic on that one because since the 1980s, Newfoundland certainly has improved economically, at least.
Yeah.
The white background?
Snow, lots of snow.
Absolutely. Snow and ice. I know you know a little bit about the next question, the provincial flower, because I think you asked it to me at one point. But so you know what the provincial flower is?
Yes, it's the pitcher plant.
It's the pitcher plant. And what queen of England chose it as the provincial flower?
Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria. I misspoke there. Not that it was she didn't pick it as a provincial flower. We weren't a province at that time.
No.
But she picked it to grace the Newfoundland penny, and from there, of course, it became a symbol.
On the coin.
It became the official flower of the province of Newfoundland in this year, and this is just a random year. At some point since 1949.
1962.
That's pretty close. 1954.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you got?
The coat of arms.
Yes. Yeah.
Somewhat controversial, but nevertheless, still.
Yeah.
Part of...
I'm going to confess I'm less familiar with the traditions around this, but let's see how I do.
Just got a couple questions for you. First of all, do you know what king granted the coat of arms? You got to go back now, nice ways. Back to
I think so.
1600s. Do you know your?
Yeah, not that well, but
history of the monarchy.
King Edward. I don't know.
No, it's got the same name as the current king.
King George, for heaven's sakes.
No, the current king, King Charles.
Oh, okay. Is the current king King Charles?
Charles III. Yeah. So King Charles the First.
Okay, King Charlie.
He granted it in 1637.
Or as we would say in Newfoundland, Charles.
Or Chuck.
When I say Charles to people up here, they really do a head spin. They're like, how did you turn Charles into Charles?
Yes, I would say.
Yeah.
What animal sits above the crest on the coat of arms?
That's a tough one.
somewhat interesting in a way.
Animal, meaning not a sea creature, right?
It's an animal. It's a land animal.
An otter.
No, it was a land animal.
Otters go on the land, don't they?
Yeah, but
a rabbit.
No, it's an elk.
Which are very popular in Newfoundland, of course.
Very, because there's never been
I guess
one
there
here,
are. No.
Unless the circus brought one to town.
Maybe they were in Harbor Grace with the fair.
Yeah. Coat of arms went kind of disappeared for a long time in history, probably about 250 years. And it came back and was reinstituted as our coat of arms prior to Confederation, but after World War One. Any ideas on about when that might be?
1940s, 1940s.
Also an unfair question. I seem to insert a good many of these in.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I got some coming for you. 1947.
Yes. Yeah, 1928. In fact,
I thought you said World War II. No,
did I say World War II? I meant to say World War One.
Okay,
my apologies.
Okay, all right.
Three off there.
Well, that's
All right, let's go with an easy one now.
Okay, all right.
It seems I just gave you a hard one and I threw you off at the same time. The provincial bird.
The provincial bird, I notice, is a puffin.
It's a puffin.
Yeah.
Question. Of all the puffins, the Atlantic puffins, that is.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many species of puffins around the world. But of the Atlantic puffin, what percentage of the Atlantic puffins breed in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Man,
you're going to give me multiple
choice for it, I suppose. I'll give you multiple choice.
Okay.
Is it 50%, 75%, or 95%?
It's a lot, but either of those three is a lot, to be honest. But I'll go with 75%.
No, believe it or not, it's 95%.
Wow.
350,000 pairs breed on our coast every year. That's a lot. Provincial tree.
That's going to be
got to be very specific.
Okay. That's juniper, known as what?
No, it's not juniper, not juniper.
Oh, is it a fir?
It's a tree that's probably the most common tree.
Oh, no, it's notice this is a spruce.
Yeah, what kind?
This is a blue spruce.
A blue spruce? Is there such a thing as a blue spruce?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Not in Newfoundland.
Not in Newfoundland, no.
No, that's something that you'd see in a tree lot in southern Ontario, I think.
Probably.
A black spruce.
Black spruce, yes. Yeah.
Black spruce. You don't remember that from all the time you spent in the woods?
My God, I saw enough black spruce. I saw it when I was there, for heaven's sakes.
What a saw off anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course that was one of the main suppliers of pulp and paper industry and stuff here in Newfoundland. It wasn't named the provincial tree until 1991. Can you believe that?
That's late. What was going on? Was there a tree controversy?
I don't know. They just didn't get the respect they deserved for a long time.
Not. Yeah. Here I was prepared to give it to the tamarack.
Great wood for burning though. Lasts a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The size, the physical size of Newfoundland. You don't know, right off the top of your head how big the province is. Yeah,
it's big.
To be exact, it's 406,000 kilometers squared.
Wowzers.
Yeah. So my question is, if Newfoundland was an American state, of all the 50 American states, what place would it come in terms of size? If Newfoundland and Labrador was an American state,
including Labrador.
Yeah, because it's the whole province.
Oh, it would come first.
I'll give you three guesses. And you know the first one's not it. I said
I can't believe that Texas will be bigger than Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, I said the three guesses I was going to give you was first, fourth, or sixth.
Well, I'd have to go with fourth, but I can't imagine.
It's fourth.
Wow. Well, what's ahead of it in landmass in America?
Well, I was going to ask you that.
Well, Texas,
There's three, right? Texas is one of them.
the Yukon,
Texas will be in second place.
the Yukon.
The Yukon's part of Canada, I think.
Sorry.
Still, even though the Americans are shooting things down.
Just we say, I have COVID brain. Alaska is what I was trying to say.
Alaska,
Alaska, Texas, California,
and California. California is about the same size, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The island of Newfoundland, in terms of island sizes in the world. So now you wanted something on the island itself.
Yeah.
In what place would it fall in the world in size of islands? Is it 10th, 15th, or 20th?
I would say 10th.
No, it's 15th. The 15th largest island in the world.
Okay.
Believe it or not. The Newfoundland half of the province, by the way, is 111,390 square kilometers. So we're quite a bit smaller than Labrador. Only a third the size of Labrador. So
yeah,
it's quite significant difference there. What mountain range? We have a few in the province.
Yeah.
What mountain range has the highest peaks in Newfoundland? So you really got two to pick from.
You're talking the whole province?
Yeah. So it's either the Long Range Mountains or the Torngat
Mountains. Yeah.
So
the highest peaks, I think, would be, I'll say the Torngat Mountains.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
The Torngat Mountains have, I think all of the top five.
Wow.
Highest. In fact, the highest mountain in the province is the highest mountain in Canada east of the Rockies. And its name, I'm not sure I can pronounce, is Mount Kaubvik. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, but it's 1,652 meters high, which is
that's high. Fairly
significant.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not climbing that tomorrow. If I climb that tomorrow, there'll be a lot of puffins.
you need puffins. You need a group of puffins to take you up there.
I'll need a puffer.
Well, indeed. Latitude and longitude. Remember that from your geography class?
Yeah, that comes up every time I got to get a belt.
So Newfoundland and Labrador lies between 46 degrees and 60 degrees north latitude, and between 52 degrees and 68 degrees west latitude, just in case you didn't know.
I didn't know.
St. John's, in particular, sits at 47 degrees north latitude. Which of the following North American cities share the same latitude with St. John's, Newfoundland?
Okay.
Is it Calgary, Alberta, Seattle, Washington, Ottawa, Ontario, or Denver, Colorado?
Is it just one?
Just one.
Okay. I will say Calgary. It's a trick question. It might be Seattle then.
Yeah, it's Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
I would say Calgary's a bit further north than St. John's.
I think so.
Who has the longer coastline? The island of Newfoundland or the Labrador portion of the province?
I think the island of Newfoundland. You go in every nook and cranny.
Yeah, it does, but not as much as you might think.
No, it's close, is it?
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's fairly close given the size. The island of Newfoundland's coastline is, get this now, 9,656 kilometers long.
Wowzers.
That's a lot of coastline. But Labrador's coastline, and even though, they only have a coastline on one side, it'll tell you the size of Labrador, really, by comparison, is 7,886 kilometers.
That's a long journey from, say, down on the southeast portion of Labrador all the way up the coast. That's a long trek.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a long ways. National parks.
Oh, yeah, you got some of them there.
Have you spent much time in a national park?
I've been in Terranova Park and Grossmore Park. Those are both national parks there.
Yeah. Have you been in any others in other provinces?
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, sure. I went to Point Pelee with you one time here
Oh, yes. Point
in the
Pelee National Park.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Beautiful spot.
It's most southerly point in Canada.
It is indeed. And we stood right out on the tip.
That's gone now.
The tip is gone.
Yes, changed. It
Oh.
changes with some regularity, but it's really much shorter tip now.
Well, we were there before it disappeared. There you go.
Yeah.
So Newfoundland and Labrador is home to 3 national parks.
Mm.
Well, 2 national parks and a national park reserve.
Okay.
You named the 2 parks on the island. Do you know the name of the national park reserve?
It's in Labrador.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to remember the name of it.
It's just called the Torngat Mountains National Park Reserve.
Okay, I was going to say it was in the mountains, but
and get this, it's 9,600 kilometers squared.
Wow.
And that kind of kills my question I was going to ask, which one of those 3 are the largest? But
I'm going to say the Torngat Mountain National
Park. Well, what I will say instead is between Gross Moor National Park and Terra Nova National Park, which one's larger?
Well, I don't know. But I would say Gross Moor.
Yes, by a long shot. Gross Moor is 1,942.5 kilometers squared, and Terra Nova National Park is only 399.9 kilometers squared.
And absolutely spectacular, Gross Moor. Well, they both are, but
both are. Yeah.
Gross Moor is just spectacular to me.
I've been lucky enough to do some hiking in both of them, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Which of those 3 parks, but in particular, you know the Torngat Mountains one was just recently added. Yeah. Out of Gross Moor and Terra Nova, which one was designated as a national park first?
Oh, first, I would say Terra Nova.
Yeah, it was indeed.
Yeah.
Terra Nova National Park was established way back 1957. And the primary reason for establishment of the Terra Nova National Park was the boreal forest ecosystem and preserving it.
Grand spot for moose.
Yes, indeed. It's the most easterly national park in Canada.
Oh, I guess it will be too, yeah. And it was the spot where you slowed down on your trip down over the line.
Slowed down?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because the speed limit is a little less, and it still is.
So is it still?
I was wondering why you slowed down, because the road was actually the best stretch of road.
Oh, yeah, no, but the speed limit was less. It was always the spot where we worried about Dad getting a ticket.
Which national park was the first one ever created in Canada? You know that?
Jasper?
Ooh, close.
If it's close, Banff?
Yes, Banff.
Okay.
Banff.
Yeah.
All the way back in 1887.
Wow, I wouldn't have predicted that, though.
First national park in Canada. Gross Moor National Park established 1973. And of course, lots of significant things with respect to the Gross Moor National Park. The Long Range Mountains, of course, Gross Moor Peak, the tablelands, and the geological history that goes back to the Earth's early days and stuff. So lots to see and lots of significance there. I'm back to trees again.
Woo-hoo!
Love trees. The 5 most common trees in Newfoundland. Can you name them?
Black spruce.
That's number 2 on this list I have here.
Fir.
The balsam fir is number 1 on my list.
Juniper, tamarack.
No.
Birch.
Which color?
White.
Yes.
So how many did you say? 4?
5.
5. So we got fir, spruce, birch, poplar.
So I'm going to give you the other 2.
Yeah.
White spruce.
Okay.
And trembling aspen. But anyway, you got 3. You got 3 out of 5.
I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. That's how my whole life has been 3 out of 5, actually.
Let's go for a dip in the lake.
Oh, we have lakes in Newfoundland. I thought a lake. James told Catherine Ann one time. That's not a lake. A lake is something you get in your boot.
Apparently, according to this, there's lakes. They're big ponds anyway.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a bit of a trick question. That's a hint. That's a hint as to what the answer is.
Okay.
And I might have to give you a second hint, but
Okay.
the largest lake in the province of Newfoundland, including Newfoundland and Labrador, what would it be? Would you think?
I would think it would be the I think they call is it still called, or I don't know what I mean, maybe they've changed the name, but when I was up in Labrador, I feel like it was like the Smallwood Reserve, like the
dead on, my man. Smallwood Reservoir.
Reservoir, that's it. Yeah, not reserve, but Smallwood Reservoir.
6,527 square kilometers, I guess. I'm not sure what the number is. It's not listed there, but
it's massive. And I went trouting with a fella in there, and the funny part was you get your line snagged, but it wasn't the bottom, it was the top of a tree.
Yes.
Like you're actually fishing like 30 or 40 feet above the treetops. So
okay. Interesting. Yeah, because all the forest that was flooded.
It's all flooded. Crazy.
Yeah. And apparently with the reservoir, there was no one dam. Apparently there's extensive dike system that created the reservoir.
Yeah.
Out of the top 5, 4 of the 5 are in Labrador.
Mm.
Lake Millville being number 2, and Ashunipi Lake, again, not pronouncing it correctly, also in Labrador. Lake Joseph, also in Labrador. One lake on the list is here in Newfoundland. Do you know, on the island of Newfoundland, do you know what the name of that one is?
Gander Lake.
Not Gander Lake, no. It's called the Grand Lake.
Oh, the Grand Lake.
Yeah. You know, yes. you pass by the what's called the Twin Lakes.
That's there. Right. Yeah.
And Grand Lake is a very large lake, and I remember our father telling us about the island that was in Grand Lake and how big it was. And in fact, it's called Glover Island, and it's 210 square miles, or 553 kilometers squared. It's the largest. The lake is the largest one on the island. The island is the 18th largest lake island in the world. Yeah.
Wow. So Dad was right when he said it was a big island.
He was right. I forget. I wish I could remember right now off top what he used to say, but there was a story he used to say about that island.
Yeah.
There's just to show the significance of how big it was.
Yeah.
Of course, we got lots of wildlife here in Newfoundland.
Yes, and that's just our relatives.
True.
Yeah.
Species at risk. Also
our crowd. Yeah.
I wonder if you could. I've got a list of 5 species that are at risk here in Newfoundland. Wildlife species that are at risk. I wonder if you could hit the list with 3 or 4 guesses. Give it a try.
We're not including fish here, or what?
No, this is wildlife, as in land.
Okay,
mammal.
So I'll say
land or air.
Species at risk. Beaver?
No.
Really?
I'll give you 3 or 4 guesses, and then I'll give you the list.
Not a beaver. Caribou at risk on the island now?
Nope.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, eh? The very rare.
I'll give you one more.
All right. How about grouse?
Grouse.
Yeah.
No, grouse are fine. Grouse are fine.
Okay.
Here's
rabbits.
No rabbits. There's more rabbits than you can shake a stick at. You obviously haven't spent a lot of time in.
I have not.
In the Salmon Air Nature Park.
Well, I have been in the park, but it's a long time ago.
Yeah, not getting I guess you'd have to get presentations and stuff to really get the background piece. But the Newfoundland pine marten is number 1 on that list.
Oh yeah.
And of course, habitat destruction is one of the biggest problems. The piping plover.
Oh yes, the good old piping plover. Miss those.
Is endangered. The pine marten is threatened. The plover is endangered. The polar bear is of special concern. I guess that's probably throughout North America. This would be in Labrador. The next one, the wolverine, is endangered.
Yeah.
And this one I did have a presentation one time on at the nature park, because they had one there. And and that's the peregrine falcon.
Oh yeah.
It's
See,
a
I
special-
wouldn't have remembered any of that. Well, in
Here's
fact,
a-
I didn't remember any of that.
No, you didn't. Well, here's one that you know more about and you are more interested in: moose.
Oh, I love moose.
And you've heard the story of moose and how they were introduced to Newfoundland, because they're not
Yes.
native to Newfoundland.
Newfoundland, meet moose. Moose. This is Newfoundland. We've introduced.
And they liked it too.
They did.
They were first introduced 1878 in Gander Bay, but I don't think that one was that successful. So 4 more were introduced in 1904 in Howley, and man, they did really
flourished.
well. Hundreds of thousands of them now.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 125 to 150,000 of those animals on the island of Newfoundland right now. Given those numbers, how many licenses are given out to those hunters every year?
Oh, you need to ask my other brothers this.
The information I got here might not be the licenses, but how many are actually killed? How many animals?
I see. I'll say.
We'll assume that all of them were successful.
And I'm not getting multiple guesses on this.
I could make up some multiple guesses for you if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so 10,000.
Yeah.
16,000.
Yeah.
24,000. Or 31,000.
31,000.
Okay, 24.
Okay, my answer without any multiple guess was going to be 30.
You're gonna go high regardless, right?
I was going to go 30 because it feels like a lot.
Yeah, there's about 700 collisions a year.
Oof.
Between cars and moose in the province.
Wow.
And
that's not pleasant either. That often results in fatalities.
Indeed so.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere that 70%, that's what I got mixed up when I was looking at that, somewhere around 70% of those happen after, between dusk and dawn.
Yeah.
The longest road in Newfoundland right now, sorry, I keep saying Newfoundland but the longest road in the province, I should be saying.
Okay. Might be the Trans-Labrador Highway.
It is, and I figured you would get that. It's 1,149 kilometers long, believe it or not. That's not a short highway, and I think it's all paved now too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's amazing to me because it was mud when I was up there in late 90s.
All the way now from, like you said, down to southern Labrador, all the way to Lab City, you can drive on a paved highway.
Wow.
So pretty good. What about the longest road other than the Trans-Canada Highway on the island portion of the province? See if you get that.
I would guess the Viking Trail. I forget the number of it.
You would guess correctly.
Yeah.
The Viking Trail route.
Yeah.
Do you know what route it is?
480 or 4.
Oh, pretty good. I know you were a tourist.
Yes, 35 years ago. Yeah, but what is it? A 480? No, it's not 480. Is it?
430.
430.
Yeah, it's 413 kilometers long.
Yeah, it's quite a trip up, but it's a less of a fun trip back. So the one thing I always said about when I was working all those years ago in a tourist chalet was there's all these great loops you can do in Newfoundland. That's not one of them, but it's absolutely spectacular. It's just you have to be prepared to take it all. You have to be prepared to take it all.
Trip, but it's a trip of a lifetime to see the Northern Peninsula. You really shouldn't.
Yeah, nobody should miss it. You
shouldn't be a resident of Newfoundland and not spend some time down that way because it is just truly spectacular. I know we've spent some time. I'm lucky enough to been all the way up to St. Anthony and but also spent a bit of time in Grossmore National Park and all along up the coast there, and it is spectacular for sure.
Yeah.
Tallest building in Newfoundland, and we don't have very many tall buildings.
No. Geez, I don't know. Is it? No, I was going to say the Confederation Building, but
ding, ding, ding! You got it. I'm not even going to let you talk yourself out of that one. So, the Confederation Building opened 1959.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the tallest building since. It's 64 meters high, or 210 feet, and it has 11 floors. Now, it's not the building with the most number of floors. I don't know how that works. I guess some floors are bigger than others.
Some people are crawling around.
Yeah. So, well, because the one on my list here that has the highest number of floors is the John Cabot Building, Cabot Place 2 there on downtown next to the.
Yeah, well, maybe because of basements. Who knows, right?
Yeah, and that one is 59 meters or 194 feet.
And how many floors in there? 13?
It's the tallest. It's the tallest office building in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Mm.
So before the Confederation building, the tallest building in Newfoundland was a church.
Okay.
Not surprising, I guess.
No.
And also in St. John's.
Yeah.
Which church would that be? And it's currently number 2 on the list of tallest buildings.
Oh. I'm going to say it would be between St. John the Baptist Anglican Cathedral or St. John the Baptist Basilica. I'll say the cathedral, the Anglican one, but it's the Basilica, isn't it?
No, neither one.
Really?
Yeah. So the Basilica was at one time the tallest building in Newfoundland, up until 1888.
Mm.
Okay.
St. Patrick's.
Now it is the Basilica is high because it's located.
Yeah.
Very prominent position, right? But it's actually St. Patrick's Church.
That's what did you hear me? I just said after it must be St. Patrick's.
Oh, did you? Oh no, I missed that.
Yeah.
So St. Patrick's Church is 60 meters high. I guess the steeple
has a massive spire, goes way up. Yeah.
And it was for 71 years the tallest building in Newfoundland.
Wow. Yeah, I should have known that. Really,
kind of gets lost a little bit because it is downtown and not
tucked away.
Yeah, but which you can't say for Confederation building. Confederation building high in both regards, both as a building and of course it's in one of the highest spots in the city.
Another spectacular building inside too, St. Patrick's.
Yeah, never been in there.
Yeah.
Never been in there. Should do that. Longest river in the province. Do you know what it is?
The Humber? The exploits?
No, in the province.
Oh, in the province. So he keeps going back. He keeps going back. The Churchill River.
It's the Churchill River.
Yeah.
Yeah. Original name of the Churchill River?
I wish I knew because I was just thinking as I said it, we should really have a name for it that's not Churchill.
Yeah, it's the Grand River.
The Grand River. Okay.
And many groups in Labrador, I think, according to a little bit of research I did, still refer to it as the Grand River.
Grand River.
And it is a Grand River, and it should be called as such.
Yeah.
Should be called what the Indigenous people always called it. Really.
That's right.
What was it called in between being referred to as the Grand River and the Churchill River? Do you know that?
I think it was called the Future Revenue Stream for Quebec River. No, I don't know the answer.
1821. It was renamed the Hamilton River.
Really?
Yeah. Named after Charles Hamilton, Commodore Governor of Newfoundland. So if you go back to early footage of Smallwood talking about the falls, it was called the Hamilton Falls. Longest river on the island. What'd you say the answer to that one was? I think you might have had.
I originally said the Humber, but I think it's
the
originally, and then you paused and I said, well, maybe it's the exploits.
Yeah, it's the exploits.
Yeah,
and that one is 246 kilometers long. Longest river in the island. It drains an area of 1,100 kilometers squared.
Wow.
And the source for the Exploits River is
Gander Lake.
No, it's called Beothic Lake.
Oh, Beothic Lake.
Newly named Beothic Lake.
Right. That's right. Yes. Yeah. I should know that. It's been in the news.
Something we touched on earlier as well.
Yeah.
And it discharges into the Atlantic Ocean in the Bay of Exploits. Near Botwood, apparently.
Yeah.
There's 4 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Newfoundland and Labrador. Can you name either one of them?
Yeah. Grossmore National Park.
That's one.
Cape St. Mary's.
No, believe it or not, it's not.
Oh. Red Bay.
Yes. Red Bay Basque Whaling Station.
Basque
That's
Whaling
2 out of the 4.
Yeah. Let's see. There's something more recent that's been added.
Yes, there is.
Uh,
very recently added, but what it's added for is about as old as you can get.
Lance Meadows
Lance Meadows is the third one.
Is not a new one, but Lance Meadows, and the new one would have to do with archaeology and indigeneity, or what? Like I'm trying to.
No, you're mistaken. It's Mistaken Point.
Oh, Mistaken Point.
Yes, it's also the home of Precambrian fossils that. And well worth the trip. 3 of those 4 I've gotten to, thankfully. I haven't gotten to Red Bay yet, but Mistaken Point is well worth the trip. It's within driving distance, a day trip, and you go out there and see some of the earliest life forms, that the Earth has produced. So, guess what, Kevin?
What, you got it all done or what?
That's it, boy. That's all I got for you.
Thanks be to God, the torture is over.
You did pretty good with that, boy. That was it was like I said, it was all over the map, all over the place, and you did pretty good.
Well, it's great stuff. Talking about getting off of all over the map. One of the great things about this segment we have, World Famous in Newfoundland, is we often have some of our great artists in this in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and having Pamela Morgan join us today is certainly going to be a highlight. So let's bring her in and do World Famous in Newfoundland and see if we can turn the tables on Darryl and see how that goes.
Won't be hard.
And we're very excited for our segment, World Famous in Newfoundland, to have somebody who's actually, as we know, more than world famous just in Newfoundland. She's world famous. And that is Pamela Morgan joining us today from Newfoundland. Welcome to you. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, it's my pleasure.
Darryl, how about a more formal introduction?
Sure, yeah. Pamela Morgan, who as the lead singer and original member of the folk rock innovators Figgy, Duff, and as a solo artist, has been at the forefront of the Newfoundland music scene and Celtic music worldwide for almost 50 years. In recent years, Pamela has been spearheading her own independent record label, Amber Music, producing music for Newfoundland's finest roots artists, including 4 of her own solo CDs. Pamela has received many awards and honors over the years, including an honorary doctorate from Memorial University of Newfoundland. She continues to write, arrange, and perform in her own highly original and beautiful style. Pamela, welcome to the Guambai podcast. Thank you for taking a little time to play a little Newfoundland Labrador trivia with us.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm curious.
Okay, that's good. Tell us, I know you've got a couple of really good projects going on now. All of some of the stuff you've done with soundtracks, like for years ago with Noel, you did The Tempest, but you've got a couple of really neat things going right now. Tell our listeners and viewers about that.
Well, 2 projects in the works. One is the White Fleet Suite, and that's and now the townies will know about the White Fleet.
Yeah.
It's the Portuguese sailors who used to come here years ago. Now, when I first came to St. John's from Grand Falls all those years ago, I remember them. Like, it was fantastic. The Portuguese sailors were everywhere, and they had, great wine and soccer and fun, and and I miss them. So I decided to make a musical composition to celebrate the ties between Newfoundland and Portugal. So I've been to Portugal, done some research, and that's going to premiere on the 3rd of November at the Arts and Culture Centre.
Wow, good stuff.
And and Dwayne Andrews is orchestrating. We have the Atlantic String Quartet and some musicians coming from Portugal and all that kind of stuff. So it's really exciting and fun to do.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. And then the other project is I've been working on it for a few years now. It's a musical, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
I don't like musicals personally, but and I found myself writing one. But it's more like, you remember those concept albums of the 70s, like Tommy and Jesus Christ Superstar, those ones.
Right.
It's concept albums, sort of, more than a musical. Not a lot of dialogue, but it's loosely based on the fairy tale of the Frog Prince. It's called Wetland, and it's an environmental story, and it's all about the prince who got turned into a frog, but when he got to the wetlands, he decided he wanted to stay there and didn't want to go back being a prince anymore. So he fell in love with the wetlands and did his best to try to protect them. So that's the basic synopsis of the story, and it's all music. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's also connected to a poem from a guy for whom Darryl and I owe our entire university careers.
Really, Tom
Yes.
Dahl.
Tom Dahl.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Tom is the one who wrote the poem that inspired the whole thing.
That's
I
right.
set that poem to music years ago for the March Hare,
Yeah.
and I recorded it on my album Play On, and I just kind of, like got really interested in it, and plus, I mean, the environment is such a huge issue now,
Yes.
climate change and all, like, the danger we're all in, and so I figured, it was a good theme to try and develop. So, and my brother George wrote a lot of the music, and
Oh,
got
wonderful.
great musicians playing on it, and yeah, so it's coming along.
Fantastic. Well, when I was trying to get through English in university, I didn't know what I was going to do, and my older brother Darryl got ahead of me. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. He said, you got to get into the courses with this Tom Dahl.
Okay.
I love him. He was wonderful. And yeah, we had to have we had to have 4 courses to become a teacher, 4 courses in English.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Tom Dahl, I don't know if I would become a teacher, to be honest with you. Which he was,
Oh, that's fabulous. Have you told him that?
Well, yeah. In fact, I reconnected with him last year because
Oh.
when we started this, I thought maybe I'd get him on, but he just says no. He's not interested in any technology or anything. And in my work here as a priest, it turned out that a woman here in London, Ontario, had picked up his work in her final days as she was dying with cancer. And he and I corresponded, and he wrote some stuff to her as well to give her encouragement. It was beautiful to reconnect with him, and he remembered both me and Darryl. So.
Oh yes, he would. And what a great accent he's got, hey?
Oh yeah, he's marvelous.
Love to hear him speak.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You had him for a teacher. Lucky you.
Yeah, well, lucky us indeed, because neither one of us would have finished university without him. So anyway, so with that in mind, let's see if
well, I just wanted to say one thing, because just tied into the podcast, we did a podcast on Newfoundland movies.
Yes.
One of the first ones that we did.
Yeah.
And one of the movies, of course, was The Rowdy Men. And there was and I think I put a question to this, Kevin. One of the scenes when he comes to St. John's, of course, is of the White Fleet. I don't know if you remember this or not. And you mentioned the White Fleet, and I think it's probably some of the best footage of the fleet as it pans along the harbor there. And it would have been, I guess, late 60s, early 70s, I guess this was made. And for someone who didn't experience the White Fleet, and of course this was in color as well, because it was a movie at the time. And so it was what I thought was a great time capsule of that part of Newfoundland culture captured in a movie. It was
I'll have to look for that. That's really interesting, because we're going to do a visual component as well. I've been collecting photographs and bits of old footage and things as well.
Right. Well, now that all 3 of us brainiacs have figured it all out here, let's see. Let's put Darryl up against Pamela Morgan to see how he does. So, Pamela, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you 5 categories, and you each get a question in each category, but I'm going to flip a coin to see who goes first to choose which category, okay? So you get to call it because you're the guest. Heads or tails? Here goes the coin. Call it.
Tails.
Tails it is. You get to go first. And so which of these categories, and here are the 5 categories for our listeners, our viewers, and these are picked with Darryl in mind. Grand Falls, Windsor is one category. Gordon Pinsent is another category. Pancake Day is coming up. We're soon up on Lent. Fellows like me are into that stuff, so I got to throw one of those in there. Anita Best, another one of Newfoundland's finest, and somebody with whom most of our listeners will be familiar. And the late, great Noel Dinn, who was a contemporary and good friend of yours, and co-founder of Figgy Duff. And I have a couple questions about him as well, because how can we not remember him when we have you with us? So how does that sound?
My goodness, how would I choose? I don't know.
So you get to pick one.
Okay, well, let's try Grand Falls.
Okay, Grand Falls, Windsor. Here we go. It should come as no surprise to anybody, really, how an incredible artist like yourself hails from Grand Falls, Windsor, because Grand Falls, Windsor actually has a bit of a history of honoring the arts. For those listeners who might be unfamiliar with the area, Grand Falls was established in 1905 as a company town of the Anglo-Newfoundland Development Company. Windsor, formerly Grand Falls Station, was where those not employed by the paper mill settled, and a region developed, and eventually they amalgamated into one municipality. And over the years, they developed a great interest for music and the arts, reflected in the creation of several clubs. including, and you might be able to correct me on this, Pamela, but I'm reading it as Andoffians or AND-offians, the Exploits Amateur Theater Company, the Northcliffe Drama Club. You remember any of those?
Yes.
Yeah, and so with all of that art, I'm not surprised that you come from there at all. Now, to establish and maintain a theatrical product in Grand Falls, Windsor, while offering students of theater and music an opportunity to practice their craft, to practice their craft and work with professionals and earn money to continue their education, a new group was formed in 1997-98. It was the introduction of a new venture that continues to today. Do you know what it's called?
Oh my goodness. I was long gone by then.
Yeah. I wondered if maybe you'd been back.
Oh no, I don't have anybody there anymore. But it sounds fantastic. What a great idea.
Oh, this is a great thing. And they do dinner theater on Queen Street. Is where they do this in the summer through Christmas. And I think there's another time in the spring where they have a bit of a thing. Does Darryl know? If you don't know, I got to throw it to Darryl.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to make, I don't know, but I'm just going to make up an answer. Is it the Grand Falls Players?
No, you silly. It's a very creative name. It's called Another Newfoundland Drama Company, Inc. A&D Company, Inc.
All right. Yeah, wow.
And they're still on the go today. So there we go.
Now, I remember the A&D Company.
Yes, of course.
That's what it was when I was there.
Bit of history of that in our family as well, because our father worked down the Lumberwoods years ago, and the A&D Company, et cetera, et cetera. So
he cut all the wood that went into Grand Falls.
Every stick.
Where did he live?
Well, he lived in Whiteway, but he would go down and went in through Buckins or Badger, right, Darryl? Badger.
Yeah.
I always say that, but Badger, yeah, it's
where
weird.
most of the loggers lived in Badger.
Yeah.
He ran camps and stuff in the woods
Wow.
for over 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
So you had the connection to Sarto as well.
That's right. Yeah, met our mother in Badger, who was from Pilley's Island originally. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, Darryl, your question about Grand Falls is about hockey. There are a number of hockey players came out of Grand Falls, Windsor, as you know, because he's been asking me questions about hockey on and off about this, because see, the other part of this, Pamela, is him grilling me with questions that nobody would know. So this is my chance to go back.
My questions are way easier. I gotta
okay. Idea on some people who came out of there and went to the NHL, Darryl?
Just
casual.
Yeah. Well, Tony White.
Okay.
Terry Ryan didn't play in the NHL, but he played
senior,
in the WHL.
Yeah.
Or WHA, sorry.
Yeah. That's not bad. You got a couple of them. There's another couple, but I'll give you the question is about Tony White. So okay. you know him, so you're going to know the answer to this, I'm sure. So Tony White was drafted in 1974, picked 161st overall by the Washington Capitals. What size of skate did he? No, I'm kidding. He suited up for 164 NHL hockey games, tallying 37 goals and 28 assists, along with 104 penalty minutes. Question, Darryl, where did Tony White play his junior hockey? And I can give you multiple guess, or you can just give me the answer.
Go with multiple guess.
Okay. Was it the London Knights, the Kitchener Rangers, the Ottawa 67s, or the Sioux Greyhounds?
What was the second one?
The Kitchener Rangers.
I'll go with the Kitchener Rangers.
Wow. See, boy, he cannot be beat on these hockey questions, Pamela. He's unbelievable. He's like, so, okay. Well, I don't know if you've ever gone up 1-0 on a guess, Darryl, but I'll give it to you now for what it's worth. Now you get to pick the next category.
So Pamela, did you know Tony White by chance?
No. There you go.
Terry Ryan?
I would have guessed Terry Ryan, yeah. And wasn't there another, was there a Faulkner?
Yeah, Alex Faulkner, yes. And of course, and I think was there a guy, Douglas House, Howse, I think, or something like that. But anyway.
Yeah, it was they had quite the hockey program in Grand Falls for sure.
Yeah. So Darryl, you're choosing the category now. You're down to Gordon Pinsent, Pancake Day, Anita Bess, and Noel Din.
Well, let's stay with Grand Falls and go with Gordon Pinsent.
Okay, Gordon Pinsent. Pinsent, the youngest of 6 children, born in Grand Falls. And his mother, Flossie, was a Cooper, originally from Clifton, and the connection to our sponsor, of course, the Dildo Brewing Company in the area we come from, is that his father, who was Stephen Pinsent, was a paper mill worker and a cobbler, originally from Dildo. His mother was quiet, and I saw this. So she was a religious Anglican, and I thought, oh, a woman after my own heart. What am I going to do? But the interesting little note I read about him was that he self-describes himself as an awkward child, and that he suffered from what condition, Darryl?
Gordon, you mean?
Yeah, Gordon.
Not his father?
Not his father, not his mother. That was just all to distract you.
He was awkward and he suffered from this condition. And there's no multiple guess on this one.
No, I can give you a hint if you like. I can describe the condition if.
I don't know. As a kid, did he stutter? Maybe.
No, he didn't stutter. Let me give you the hint. So the hint is it results in weak or soft bones in children, often caused by dietary deficiency, sometimes genetic. No. Over to Pamela. What do you think?
I don't know.
These questions are harder than I thought somehow.
A wild guess, rickets, maybe?
Rickets! Pamela
Really?
gets it right. It was rickets. That's exactly what he suffered from, rickets.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
There you go. All right. Pamela's going to take this over now from here on in. So your question is, he's known for his roles in numerous productions, including Away from Her to Rowdy Men, as we talked about earlier, John and the Missus, A Gift to Last, Due South, The Grand Seduction, what a great show that was, and The Shipping News. Pinsent was also the voice of what beloved cartoon character in television and film from 1989 to 2015?
Oh my God.
Now, I can give you multiple guesses here.
Okay.
All right. So was he Little Bear, Papa Smurf, Babar the Elephant, or Wilbur?
I have no idea. It'll have
Oh,
to be
my.
a guess.
Okay, let's pick your best guess.
Babar the Elephant.
2 for 2 on the Gordon Pinsent questions. I am cheering for you, Pamela. I was afraid that was going back to the other one.
I was waiting for that to come over to me because while I would never know that in a million years, my kids were young, just as that show was like very popular. So I remember I watched Babar a lot.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So back to Pamela then to choose the next category. We have Pancake Day, Anita Best, or Noel Dinn.
I guess we'll choose Noel.
Let's talk about Noel. Before I ask you the question, I guess just for our listeners, I mean, it must have been something for you to have those years together, and maybe a little bit about how things came to be for Figgy Duff all those years ago, how you connected. I mean, it must have been a magical time in some ways, and just all that traveling and everything you did together.
Yeah, well, I was really young. I mean, I was in high school in a play that Noel saw when he was in Grand Falls playing with the Garrison Hill. A friend of his brought him to see the play. And he remembered me when I went to St. John's with the same play to play. We did it at university. I was in grade 10 at the time. And he came and introduced himself. And so then I did a couple of seasons with traveling theater, but he was kind of persistent, you know. Yeah. He really wanted me to be in the band. So, you know, I guess after a while he talked me into it. But I think that also we had common interests. I was interested in, you know, there was a big cultural renaissance at the time, and everybody was interested in our culture and bringing it to the forefront and shaking off the goofy new image and, you know, celebrating the finer points of the culture. So, and my mother was a music teacher, so I had, you know, a lot of background in music and things, and so I obviously gravitated towards the music of Newfoundland. So, and that's what they were doing. So it was kind of, you know, synchronicity in a way. But yeah, we traveled a lot, and there was no music infrastructure the way there is now.
No.
We were on a wing and a prayer in the back of a van. Just it was wild.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere you talked about being squeezed into a van between amps and PAs and.
Oh yeah. Slept on pool tables, lots of couches. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, such a great contribution that he and you and Figgy Duff, all the members over the years, contributed. The last 2 years of Noel's life, he produced 3 albums with ex-members and close friends of the Duff, as you write about it. What were those 3 albums? Do you know? Can you remember the names of them?
Of the last 3 albums he did?
Yeah.
They were Emile Benoit, that Vive la Rose, the Color of Amber, and Downstream.
That's exactly right. See, I knew you'd know the answer to that. So Darryl, you don't get anything here, Darryl. Sorry. So yeah, well, I was getting ready for this, listening to some of this music, and it's just exquisite, and you must miss him as everybody do.
I do, absolutely. It feels like a different lifetime, like the before he passed away and after he passed away. It's 2 different, totally different phases of my life.
Yeah, and way too young. He was what, 45?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Darryl, not to let you off the hook, you get an Noel Dinn question too, because before Figgy Duff, there was still Noel Dinn, and he was making music. And of course, you know all about this.
All about it, yeah.
All right. Without my glasses on, because I can't get about over these earmuffs, he was a trailblazer. He defied all odds and led his 60s rock band, if you can imagine, from Newfoundland to Montreal and all the way to England, London, England, and performed all over the place. What was the name of that rock band, Darryl?
Well, I'm going to go down a limb.
Yeah.
Because I think I just heard it.
Oh, yeah. He was probably researching before he came on here, Pamela.
No. Well, the only hint I got is I heard Pamela just mention a band.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I'm going to use that. Garrison Hill.
Oh, no, not Garrison Hill. You'll be wrong. But that's very good listening skills. This is why he's such a good teacher. You see, he listens. Now, Pamela, would you please tell him what the band was?
Yeah, Lukey's Boat.
Lukey's Boat was the band.
I have heard. I have heard tell of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So it's a little bit about Noel, but I mean, we could do a whole podcast about Noel and everything that he did for arts and culture in Newfoundland.
Yeah. So just a second. So Lukey's Boat was a rock band.
Yep. Well, they started experimenting with Newfoundland music as well, but they mostly were like kind of rock and original music that they had written, and they started to delve into some of the folk music with Laverne and them when they were a band. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that was Pamela chose Noel, right? No, Darryl did. No, you did. Yeah, right. Okay. So over to Darryl now then to choose between Anita Best and Pancake Day.
Well, I'll go with Pancake Day.
Okay. So have you been, just remember it's coming up. And so I hope the 2 of you get shriven on Pancake Day because it's Shrove Tuesday. And being a priest, I can provide, I can make sure you're shriven. You know what that's all about, Darryl?
I don't, and it doesn't sound like
you don't care.
Doesn't sound like it would
doesn't
be very
sound appealing. So no. It's just a little absolution, but anyway, Shrove Tuesday being fat.
I need more than a little.
Well, I could spend the evening here hearing your confession if you like, and then Pamela afterwards. But not a chance. She says. But putting that aside, the other thing that always happened on Fat Tuesday, of course, is everybody ate up all the good stuff so that you could fast for Lent. And of course, one of the things that you could make with things like eggs and butter and flour was pancakes. And so Pancake Day, being a big tradition in England and certainly in the west and the south of England, especially, made its way to Newfoundland. And Pancake Day was a big deal. So one of the things that did happen a lot around Newfoundland is they would put things in the pancakes. And those things were often meant to be something like a foretelling of your future. You've heard this? Yeah, you've heard this too, Pamela?
Yes.
Did you get things in your pancakes when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good too. We got money, not much of it, but
No.
no, but very little money. But anyway, so this is a test on what these things mean. So, Darryl, yours is a pencil stub.
Oh, a pencil stub.
A pencil stub.
Well, that meant you were going to become a teacher, Kevin.
Oh, well, you must have got a lot of pencil stubs in your pancakes, did you? No pencil stubs?
Is that right?
If the answer is correct,
Oh.
yes. Yeah. So,
Just a
that's
guess.
right. That was a very good guess.
No, I don't remember ever getting a pencil stub.
No pencil stubs. All right. But
No.
yeah, and yet you became a teacher. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think Mom ever thought we were going to become teachers, but
No, I don't know why I didn't get a holy medal either, which means I might become a priest or member of a
Oh.
religious order. I didn't get any of those. But anyway,
it's
Pamela,
less than a scientific method for predicting by the sound of it.
yeah, very much so. Very much so. Now, what if you got, Pamela, what if you got a nail in your pancake?
Oh, you'd be a carpenter.
That's right. You'll be a carpenter. Some places a blacksmith. They
Yeah.
would say so. A carpenter or a blacksmith. Very good. You're both very good on your pancake day stuff. So best to you this upcoming Shrove Tuesday.
Love pancakes.
Okay. All right. Let's get them going. I prefer the Toutons myself, but I'll take pancakes in lieu of them. But all right. Last category is Anita Best. And so
I guess you could say we saved the best for last.
Yeah.
nicely done. See, this is the kind of quality entertainment Darryl provides on this podcast. All right, Darryl, you get to answer the first question then.
No,
it's Pamela. You're right. No, it's Pamela. Right, you are. So Anita is a teacher, a broadcaster, a well-known singer, a storyteller, a member of the Order of Canada. She's collaborated with Pamela Morgan, so she's done it all, right? This question is about Anita's beginnings. Anita was born on what island in Placentia Bay that has since resettled?
Mercian Island.
Pamela gets this one right as well. So there you go. But she's from Mercian Island. Now, Darryl, would you have gotten that?
Wouldn't have known it. Probably would have guessed that because that's like the most famous island.
That's the one.
But I wouldn't have known it. It would have been a pure guess.
Okay. All right. Okay, Darryl, yours is what was the name of the cove she was born in? Mercian, I'm kidding. So Best began professional work as a classroom teacher, just like yourself, and she later became an oral historian, archivist, and eventually moving into careers as diverse, of course, as radio broadcaster, archivist, professional performer, university instructor. Anita has done it all. In terms of broadcasting, she was the host and writer of a CBC radio series from 95 to 98. What was the series called?
Oh.
I can give you multiple guess if you like.
Okay.
Should I give a multiple guess, Pamela?
Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't, but you
sounds like Pamela knows the answer.
That's because I know it, right?
Yeah. Okay. So was it called Yarns from Mercian, A Little Ball of Yarns, Spinning Big Yarns, or Having a Cuffer?
Oh, I'll go with the first one, the Mercian.
No, that's wrong. Pamela, you know the answer.
Yes, I do. It's the Little Ball of Yarns.
It's A Little Ball of Yarns was the name of the show. So there you go. Well, I gotta just do a little quick math here, Pamela, but just looking over the sheets, yeah, I think you really soundly trounced Darryl, so we're gonna call that a win for you.
Hey.
And
congratulations.
The real win, of course, is for me and Darryl for having the opportunity to speak with such a Newfoundland legend and to have you on here with us and for you to have a little fun with us. Thank you so much. You're not just world famous in Newfoundland, you're world famous everywhere.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That was great. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
My gosh, Darryl. Pamela Morgan is amazing. Great to hear that she's got some new projects coming up, and really grateful for her for spending time with us on World Famous in Newfoundland.
Yes, very much so. That was a great bit of fun. Thank you, Pamela. That was wonderful. Thanks for doing that with us.
Now, of course, one of the favorite parts of this podcast is it become the lightning round because Darryl hits me with lightning fast questions. So we can see what you got today. More randomness for the lightning round?
Listen, this is the random trivia today. All random.
All right. So we got how many questions? 10 or 12?
I think I got 11.
11 questions. Good.
Just try to keep it, try to keep you off balance here.
11. Good old number 11, Saku Koivu. Okay.
Wherever it lands. Yvonne Lambert.
Yvonne Lambert, yes. So let's start the timer and get my 11 questions. Here we go.
Approximately what percentage of Newfoundland and Labrador's total land area is in Labrador? Is it 50, 60, or 70%?
60.
71% to be precise. What percentage of Newfoundland and Labrador's population live in Labrador? 4%, 6%, or 8%?
6%.
6% it is. Where does Newfoundland and Labrador rank in terms of population with all the other Canadian provinces?
Provinces including territories or
just provinces?
Just provinces. I will say 9th.
Yeah, we're the second lowest behind PEI. And of course, we are larger than the territories. How many Canadian cities have a population greater than that of Newfoundland's population at 520 odd thousand?
A lot. Do you have a number?
5, 10, 15, or 20?
I'll say 15 at least.
10 it is.
Okay.
You can't name them. I'm not going to ask you to do that.
No.
St. John's ranks in this spot in terms of size of Canadian cities. Is it 15th, 17th, or 19th?
15th.
We're the 19th largest city, St. John's.
Not doing well with the lightning round today.
No. What percentage of Newfoundland's population live on the Avalon Peninsula? Is it 20, 50, or 70%?
50.
It is, well, just less than 50, I think it is. I think it's 50.
Okay.
I should know the answers to this, shouldn't I?
I got one right.
It is 50%. What percentage of Newfoundlanders speak English as their first language? Is it 86%, 90%, or 97%?
Well, the smart answer is we don't really speak proper English, but so what was your high number again?
97.
97%.
97 it is. What king of England first termed the name Newfoundland? Was it Charles I, Henry VII, or Victoria?
Henry VII.
It was Henry VII. Geez, you're on a roll now.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the first known European settlement in Newfoundland?
Cupid's?
Meadows.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
I knew I was going to get you on that one. Where does Newfoundland and Labrador rank in terms of GDP in relation to other provinces in Canada?
8th.
We are the second highest behind Alberta.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And last question. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Newfoundland and Labrador ranked in this position in terms of vaccination rates in the country.
First.
We were the highest. Yes. There you go.
All right. Thank God.
You pulled it out at the end. You
I got a few right in the end. Thank God for Henry VII.
Good old Henry VII. I think he was a good fellow. Better than Henry VIII.
Henry VIII, though. A lot of problems there. Anyway, listen, great bit of fun.
We'll get into that in another podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. Great episode today. Great fun with random questions from all over the island. Incredible guest in Pamela Morgan. Thankful to her. Thankful to you, Darryl, for getting these questions together. And of course, to our sponsor, the Dildo Brewing Company and Museum, for all the support they give us. And to all of you for listening and watching. Please share with your friends. Click subscribe when you visit our podcast site, whichever platform you use. And we look forward to being back with you next time. In the meantime, there's not a thing left to say, Darryl, except
go on by.